Hello everyone, welcome back to the Hamster Business Show. My name is Chris Pastrana, and today we're here with Melinda Lott and Melissa Nurmi of Thrive Wellness. How's it going?
Good.
I love the smile. So let's get into this. Let's talk about where it all began, the two of you, the business, all of it.
Yeah, so I was actually Melissa's client a few years ago. We've been in business for 3 years, but before that, I was having a lot of health problems. I had high blood pressure, some pretty chronic asthma, struggling with a lot of things, and my doctor had recommended that I do a trial gluten-free diet, so I kind of had to make a big lifestyle change, which was a little scary because I'm from an Italian family and I love my bread and my pasta and all that stuff. So giving up, just about anything that I really cared about at that point was kind of tough. And she recommended that I do some work, individual work with somebody like Melissa who was doing Stop Pilates at the time so I could get my joints moving and things. So that's how we met. And then we sort of developed a relationship and a friendship after that. At one point, I was training with Melissa, but I was also being encouraged to do some other athletic stuff, which was a little bit beyond my ability. And I ended up with a pretty serious injury. I broke my ankle. And that was largely because of peer pressure. I felt a lot like, when you go into a gym or a room full of people and they're like, go, go, go. They really want you to push. And so I did because I was kind of embarrassed with the folks that I was working out with. And I fell in the course of training and I broke my ankle. So that set me back 16 weeks in a boot and really undid any good work that I was doing with Melissa up until that point. So I was super discouraged, really depressed, and really ill all at the same time. And since Melissa and I had gotten to know each other, by then she had shared her story with me, and that's kind of where our paths crossed at a different level then.
It was so frustrating. I had taught fitness at several different locations all over the place, and it was the same thing everywhere I went. This sort of desire to push your clients and as hard as you can, and that's not how I roll as an instructor, as a fitness professional. It was more like, let's get you moving safely and with health and with comfort and not just drive you into the ground. So we sort of were like, I needed a place to teach where that wasn't the vibe, and my clients needed a place to go where that wasn't the vibe, and we just couldn't find it. So we were like, all right, then we're just going to have to open it up ourselves and kind of throw it out there into the world. Yeah. And so
Melissa has a really impressive background. She's a registered nurse, and she came to sort of all of her training because of her medical conditions, which just amazed me because she had overcome some huge stuff as a young person, like huge, much more than I had.
I don't know if I'd go that far. I can eat bread.
Pasta.
Yes, I don't know if I could make that change.
Yeah.
But so when I was 21 years old and about to graduate from college, I had a stroke, and I had to have brain surgery afterwards. And so, I'm okay. And the follow-up to that procedure, really was like, all right, Melissa, you're cured, off you go. And nobody wanted to talk to me about the fact that I have neuropathy in my leg. I can't really feel my lower leg. I had a huge visual field problem. I had range of motion issues in my arm from the way I was positioned during the surgery. They just were like, it was a 12-hour surgery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They just were like, all right, you're cured, off you go. And of course, I am a kind of person that was like, I guess I'm cured, then I'll just go live my life. And it took me a while to realize that I really didn't feel good. I had parts of my body that didn't work well, and I had a lot of grief and fear, and facing your mortality at 21 is sort of an interesting thing to kind of go through. So I had graduated with a degree in biology and was working in biotech, and my experience as a patient was really what made me want to be a nurse. But then when I got into the actual nursing as labor and delivery nurse, I loved taking care of my patients, but you can't really take care of them as much as I wanted to. I wanted more time holding their hands. I wanted to get to know them all and help them, but you can't because you're too busy writing things down and taking blood pressures and doing things. And so that's sort of what led me down the fitness path, the Pilates helped me get back inside my body again, get it working again. Yoga helped kind of make me feel safe and whole again inside my own head. And then I was like, this is what I want to do. You know, this is the way in which I can really reach people and make them feel the way I want to make them feel as part of that sort of healing process. And so then that's who I wanted to be as a professional. And everywhere I went, they were like, stop doing that. That's not how that's not how we do that. You just need to make them do squats and don't get to know them particularly well. And I'm like, no, actually, I want to know them all and talk to them and, you know, have a relationship with my clients. And everywhere I went, they were like, no, just take their money and make them squat, and that's the end of that. And I was so
that's where it started. We actually at that point, my youngest was a sophomore in college, so said, you know, I really can't do this for like 3 more years because I got to get this kid through school, and you know, we can't do this. And we were like, no, we can't do this, and we don't know where we would do this, or we're the most unlikely people to sort of start a business. It's not like we had a bankroll of cash behind us or knew anything about business in our background. But things started to come together. A place became available.
We were just like, let's just look at a place.
Let's just look at it. Yeah.
Let's just look. Because I had clients that were like, Melissa, I will go with you wherever you go. Like, just plant your equipment somewhere and I'll be there. And I was teaching like in a church basement, and I had this like lovely little following of people. They were like, Melissa, we'll follow you. Just find a place. And I was like, well, let's just look at a place.
Yes. Let's just look turned into like, no, we can't do it. Yes, we'll do it. Okay. We should do it. No, we're not going to do it. We'll talk to our husbands about it. Okay, we'll do it.
I guess we'll do it, whatever. We'll just sign on the dotted line.
We did. We signed the lease. My husband and I went in there over the weekend and patched the holes in the wall, painted the place. We decorated it, moved in Melissa's equipment, and threw the doors open. And so that little handful of people turned into a room full of people. Yep. We had a small space on the first floor, much too small, which filled up in the first
4 months.
4 months. Yeah. And there was an upstairs space, so we said, okay, we'll take the upstairs space. And
no, we were like, we can't possibly do
we can't do it.
We can't do that.
We can't do it.
Okay, I guess we're going to do it. Maybe we'll do it. I don't know. Then we do. We signed the dotted line again.
Yeah. Moved upstairs. Same thing. Went in one day. And my poor husband, like, painted the whole place, moved stuff up there. And we had more people. And we were there for 3 years. And towards the end of that lease, we started to know we were going to need more space and different kinds of space. I mean, the space was great, and it really served its purpose for us because we started off on a smaller basis. But as we got to know our clients and we got a better understanding of what we were doing and what we were hoping to do, we got more specific about what we were looking for, and that's how we ended up where we are now.
Good. Yeah, because when you get specific about what you want, you can really get into, like, instead of, okay, we can afford it, we can get into how's the space feel? Yeah. And then when you can get there, especially with what you guys are doing, you kind of really get into more of the image behind the business.
Yes,
for I think that's what people say the most about us when they walk in. They're like, oh, it just feels so nice in here. What do you do to make it feel like that? I'm like, oh, magic.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful space, but it's not, some of it's about how it looks. Some of it's about the smell. We diffuse. Everyone's like, it smells so good in here. We diffuse essential oils, and we're trying to create an experience for people. Yeah. So not, we're definitely not, your corner gym, you pay your $10 and come in and kind of do your thing. It's really about, the whole experience. So do you feel safe when you come in there? Is it a kind environment? Is it comfortable? Is it inviting? We want people to come and tend to their physical needs, but we also want to be able for them to feel safe in their bodies and to share their experiences, because Melissa is a registered nurse, that she can often confidentially speak with them at a level that a regular fitness trainer can't, because they don't have that kind of experience.
It's such a bummer. Sorry.
Go ahead.
What I do most of the time is explain to people what their doctors told them, and that's like such a bummer. You know, like they're like, "Oh, my doctor says this, and I have no idea what that means," and I'm like, ugh. Which I totally get. That's our medical industry at the moment. You don't get more than 30 seconds with these guys, and so just helping them, like, what does that even mean? What, like, I pull out the Google with them and I'm like, see, here's pictures of what's going on. Just taking that couple minutes to be like, this is what, and they're like, oh, and I'm like, oh, so it's not like I have some highfalutin medical knowledge or I'm handing out any miracles. It's just often just like decoding some of the language for them, which is like such a bummer. And I think the other thing is like that sense of community too at Thrive that I think that creates, like, we know we're going to keep you safe, that everybody's sort of in the same boat as you, everybody's got something going on, and so it's a little bit like Cheers at Thrive. Like when you walk in, people are like, hey, and if you don't come to class, they're like, where were you last week? They all know each other, and that's the best thing about Thrive. I think. Yeah.
It is. Our clients are definitely, it's a wide range of people. We have very fit, athletic people, and then we have a ton of folks up to the age of 70s.
Oh my God, yeah.
Beyond.
Yeah.
That are all sort of walking their own individual path, but they're in the same class. So they might both be doing yoga side by side, but one lady may have her knees down on the mat, and the other one next to her might be in a full plank, and we can guide people through that in the same classes, and they can customize their experience. So if it's somebody that has chronic illness like diabetes or high blood pressure like me, I'm a holistic nutritionist, so we can talk to them a little bit about that. Melissa can recommend not only one-on-one stuff, if she thinks they might need some physical therapy or a massage or something, we have other people that come into the studio to do it, or we can refer them out to folks. So it's kind of a unique thing where you can come to one place and we can sort of help you craft the experience and the path that you want. Not everybody is looking for a big weight loss program. Some people are just looking to make holistic changes to their lives for whatever reason. Some people are going through big milestone changes like divorce, or a death, or something that's changing their life, and they're kind of in a place where they're needing to make a change but not really knowing where to start. Maybe they need to work with somebody that's a therapist. Maybe they need to see a doctor, but they're not really sure. And it's sometimes hard to trust people with that. Like, we know a big part of what we're doing takes a lot of trust, and we appreciate people that put that trust in us, because it's not an easy thing.
Yeah. It's so cool, like when you're teaching a yoga class like that, for example, with all those different levels in front of you, like, so you offer, take your pose and then you break it down into, you can do it this way, you can do it this way, you can do it this way. And the kind of place that we are, like the lady who always puts her knees down because she doesn't feel like she's strong enough to be in a full plank position, because she knows she's in a safe place, she'll lift her knees and give it a shot. And then the lady next to her who's like wicked buff, and is like throwing down this practice, since she no longer feels that pressure to hang with the cool kids, she'll put her knees down because plank hurts her back. So like each of them is able to do what is right for them, whether it's that little push more or whether it's to back off and like just be cool with where they are at that moment, and I think that was like, that's I think what really makes change in your life, like when you're not dying for it, or when you are free to do what is right for you, to just figure out what that is, what that
for sure.
is for you, instead of what everybody's telling you what that is. Like it's different.
Yeah, because I think there's a kind of a push in the main wellness field to just go nuts. Like,
yes, totally.
And I get it, because not anymore clearly, but I used to be, when I was in the military, very, very good shape, CrossFit, like all the time. It's all we did. Like CrossFit 3-4 times a day when we were in Afghanistan. We just worked out all the time. We had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Yes.
But I can also get, now that I'm back and jelly beans are my new thing.
Yeah.
And pizza.
Totally.
Something a little less strenuous on my old body.
Yeah. Well, and like sort of honoring the process as we change, like when I get a client who can't do this pose anymore, I'm like, you graduated from that pose. It's not a loss that you can't throw it down like you used to. There's all kinds of things I don't do anymore because I'm an adult.
Right.
It's not
because we've had children at this point, because our bodies have changed. The other big part of the process is we want to take into consideration the whole person. So, do you manage your stress? How can we help with that? Because if you're not eating properly, you're not sleeping properly, you know, all of those things play into the part of being well. And what does that kind of look like? Because for me, if I'm exercising all the time, but I'm so stressed out, my blood pressure is still high, and I've decided that, you know, part of it is like jelly beans, like, great, we all have our stuff, we all have our thing, and if you go into a program where people are like, yep, none of that,
no
like,
jelly beans.
no, nothing, you're not going to have any of that. Like with the gluten thing for me, I thought that was the end of the world. I was like, how do you do that? There's nothing I can eat. There's nothing, I mean, can't drink a beer anymore. The gluten is in everything. Condiments, you know, what you're eating. And I thought, this is going to be the most miserable process in the world. And as it turned out, I had some good support around that, and it's really not the most miserable process in the world. And there are some good substitutes and some things that you can put in, but you know what, come Easter time, I had me some jelly beans, so yeah, and I'm not going to give that up, because that's, you know, that's part of the pleasure of, you know, being a human being and a human experience. It's not about making your life miserable the whole way. You know, but we've got to manage the other things, and it's a whole, you know, it's mind, body, and spirit. So what do we do to do that? So we have meditation workshops, we have essential oils that are a more natural way to sort of whether if you have allergies and you need natural cleaning products, or you need to diffuse something because before you go to bed you need a little lavender that will help you, you know, calm your spirit. There's a lot of good things in there that don't mean taking a bottle of pills or necessarily spending, you know, tons of time and money in a therapist's office. So yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take a quick word from our sponsors. Everyone's hold right on. If you want to get in front of new people, but you just don't quite know how, reach out to the New Hampshire Business Show. It's not like advertising on Facebook or advertising on all these other platforms that everyone is on. You have very limited competition. You lock out your competitors from advertising on the show as well. And we are a growing network that's doing amazing things in the area. So reach out at nhbusinessshow@gmail.com and we'll talk. Okay. And this whole thing is interesting because I kind of like the style, like I was saying. It's kind of cool. But I also get the other side of it too, like the push, have fun, drive, you know.
Yes.
So it's you're right. It's kind of what's right for the person. Like if they're in a point where they really want to try harder, cool. You know, there's probably a billion gyms out there that can you know do that too. But if you're looking for something a little, you know, like you said, calmer, a little easier on the body. There are options, and
totally.
So there are options within our program as well. I mean, we have highly qualified instructors that will do a cardio class or strength and conditioning. We have some folks that train personally that are marathon runners. Depending on what you're looking for, you can throw it down pretty well here if you like to. A bar class, is a lot of core workout. It's also hilarious because we laugh a lot at ourselves. We don't have any mirrors up around at the studio, so we're not kind of like staring at. Not for us. Nobody wants to see that.
No. If you want a butt kicking, we'll give it to you. But the difference is
it's going to be safe.
It'll be safe. Yeah, good. I feel like. Some of the like crazy gyms out there keep us in business because you know it's like when you have injured yourself, come on in, we'll put you back together and teach you how to throw down safely.
Not doing 300-pound like snatches over your head, bust your shoulder out of place type stuff.
Well, that's the hard part. Once you have an injury like that, then you're on the bench. So you're really undoing any good that you did. And a lot of times that injury, I injured a knee and had some knee surgery, and it's a long way back from that. You know, not only just repairing the knee, but then a lot of people need physical therapy. But then what's beyond that? If you're kind of maxed out, we don't always take into consideration that if you've thrown off a knee, your hip is out, your ankle is off, your spine may be off. And so looking at strengthening all of those other muscles are things that, like, I personally need to work on. There's a lot of folks in that in that category. If you think about the people that we see that have bad shoulders, bad joints in general, there's a lot of that.
You finish up PT, and then where do you go? It's like you go back to your gym where you were obviously unstable and unsafe and were not able to bear the load of what you were doing. It's like you need some sort of person who's not a physical therapist, who's in between you and what you had been doing to strengthen you up and stabilize all that stuff. And that is totally a gap out there in the world. Not anymore, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny, because as we're talking, I see a lot of what I did when I was younger. Like I said, I was in the Army. Tore right through my shoulder in one deployment. My back is a whole bunch of mess. I think part of my hip is fused, like one of the joints, because it doesn't like move anymore. And then like my knees all busted up because I was airborne, so I jumped out of a lot of planes. So it's just plus and then when all those injuries happen, you're in the Army, you can't stop. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So I get it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then trying to keep up a pace like that after a while, you're just like
just push through.
Yeah.
I think most people, even though they're not in those circumstances, they do the exact same thing. They get their surgery, they finish their PT, they go back to work, they go back to the gym, they just push through. And you got to figure out why you were able to be injured, what was going on there that you weren't safe to begin with, and then how do we really get you over that, and what do your limitations look like now in order to keep you like thinking longevity wise, like what really can we expect out of this joint? Let's set some real expectations for the future.
There's some really good benefits that we see for people too. In yoga, for instance, we work a lot on things like balance, and not balance like you can twist up like a pretzel and stand on a balance beam, but balance for things like as you get older. We want to prevent people from falling down and breaking a hip, because that's something that happens all the time and can cause catastrophic damage. So just retraining the mind to learn to balance again seems pretty basic, but it's amazing if you try to stand on one leg for a little bit of time, how wonky we get at it and how quickly. So those sort of basic skills at retraining the body and the mind, especially and I hate to say it as we get older, but I mean, we're all kind of at the point where most of us aren't in our 20s anymore. And, when you start to look at your physical ability and your mental ability, those are things that really need to go hand in hand. So there's nothing worse than waking up every morning with a sore hip, or you're turning over in bed because you wake up because your knee hurts and you have to keep flipping over. Just that process alone of the body sort of causing that inflammation over and over again is something that we can do good things about. And it doesn't necessarily mean surgery or injections or terrible medicines, but if we can get folks to the point where they're just feeling good in their body again and they don't have pain, that's a win. That's a huge win, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Although some of my favorite clients are probably you when you were back in the Army and in this super great shape. And I can just poke you in just the right way and show you, like, yes, you've got these strengths, but this over here is weak. And you don't even notice it because it's not impacted by what you're doing every day or your event of choice, whether you're a runner or a cyclist or a lifter, whatever your thing, you have neglected this other area, whether it's your core, whether it's some other muscle group, and that's going to set you up for injury. Like you might be killing it right now and feeling great, but unless you look at the whole picture and work everything around, you can't continue to function at that level. You're gonna get hurt. That's...
we always make fun of that all the time, like people who have super strong upper bodies and they have like little legs because they don't train their legs at all.
Leg day,
So you see that type of stuff all the time, but I see it in people that would lift chests all the time and never work on their backs, and all of a sudden they're pulling things everywhere because their chests are too strong and completely throwing everything off. And so having someone to be like, hey dude, maybe do some back workouts for a day or two.
Or we see a lot of people too, and not picking on guys, but a lot of guys that are super strong. I mean, they're strong but not flexible. So I mean, you'll have guys that that can just kill it and throw down a huge workout, lift all kinds of weight, and then you'll sit them on the floor and say, can you reach over and touch your toes?
And they're sweating.
Yeah.
It's hard to sit.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is really, really interesting because, you look at somebody and you think, well, shoot, they should be able to do just about anything. But a lot of times it's about flexibility and not just about strength.
Yeah. And in my case, the flexibility causes a lot of other problems too.
Yes.
We don't even realize it.
Yes.
Like a lot of the problems with my hip where it has fused is flexibility of like almost in like the front on the quads.
Sure.
Like that's a huge problem on my hip. And it's funny,
Yeah.
So
I know. You can usually point those things right out, You tell me where your pain is, and I can do these. The body's just really a system of pulleys and levers, so I can poke around in there and be like, oh, there it is. We got to fix that. This is too tight and this is too weak. And if we balance all that out, the joint is well supported, it functions the way it's supposed to, and you feel better. Hooray!
And people that come in that are golfers, or they ski, or there's body mechanics in there. So, you've got a golfer with a stiff shouldering and it's impacting their swing. So taking a look at, what's going on there. And a lot of times they're thinking it's my shoulder, but nobody's looking at their neck or, the rest of their spine and their alignment and their hips. So there's a lot of like specific things that can be done, for athletes and even younger people. We had one instructor that was working with some off-season teenagers that were playing sports but needed, sort of when they're out of season, they're not playing their sport, support in that. And it's all hugely important. It's a matter of what do you do for your life and how can we help you do that so that you can feel the best, enjoy it the most, and, kind of get on with things and not get hurt in the process, because that's really our big thing is once you injure yourself, it's a long way back.
Yeah. And you had mentioned, elderly patients and stuff, and a lot of times when you see elderly people, once they get that big injury, that's what really speeds up that decline to death.
Absolutely.
Is that one injury, like a broken hip or a leg, or
for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're all getting older. There's no getting off the bus, so you got to prepare for it as best you can. I feel like this is something. There's plenty of things you can't do anything about. Your genetic predispositions, but this is something you absolutely can, no matter where you are. Like at any point in this continuum of health and wellness, you can always get a little bit better, always, if you can find a place to do it, that doesn't break your ankle while you're there.
Yeah. Exactly. I know. The state of things in healthcare now too, like there's much more of a swing towards sort of improved wellness and preventative wellness instead of waiting until we get down the road of injury and then trying to repair it. So I think there's a shift definitely in mindset where people are starting to realize that it's much more important to kind of take a look at lifelong wellness and not just waiting until you get to the age where things start falling apart on you.
Yeah, and there's also, from what I've seen, I mean, I'm a little further outside the industry, but there's a push more towards, I want to say wholeness, but away from just medications, because that creates problems too when people are trying to find an alternative other than pills to, live a better lifestyle, be healthier, because a lot of it can be achieved without tons of medication. So
absolutely, if you can take a look at the why instead of just putting a Band-Aid on it and saying like, why is this going on? Let's look at the much bigger picture, which it can include all kinds of different things, not just this one sort of symptom that has appeared. Instead of eradicating the symptom, let's look at all the other stuff that's going on sort of head to toe and figure out what we can do about all that stuff, and then in what way does that impact this symptom. I always think about like all of our stuff as sort of in between me and the medicine cabinet. It's like, what can I hit on the way there before I reach for the Tylenol? What's the root cause of really all this stuff, and how can I get around it? And that's so true for everybody that I see. It's not just about this one symptom that's come up for you or this one thing. You're a whole person, not a knee, or a blood test or whatever, or a high blood pressure. It's the whole thing.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Awesome. Yeah. So people that want to reach out with you, take some classes, learn some more, how do they do so?
So you can always start at our website, which is thrivewellnessnh as in New Hampshire.com. New clients can take an entire week of classes for $20 and try everything. And then we have a month of unlimited classes also for new folks. And then after that, you know, it's sort of up to you how you can continue. You can always consult with us individually. We do obviously group classes, but then we have private training with a bunch of different styles of instructors, including myself. You can do nutrition with Melinda or a dietitian. We have a physical therapist and a massage therapist, all kinds of people on staff to help you out.
And May 10th, we have our first big open house. So everybody's welcome to come to that. 3 to 7? 3 to 8?
3 to 8.
3 to 8. We're in the Meeting Place Plaza in Amherst, right off of 101. So we'd love everybody to come. We're going to have classroom demonstrations and all of our instructors there, and you can kind of get a taste for some things. If you are not sure what a bar class looks like, you can come and check it out and see the whole place. Everybody will be there. So it should be a really good, fun time. We haven't had a big open house since we started, so we're pretty excited about it.
Yeah, you can pop in anytime, stay for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
You can watch the demo or you can participate in the demo.
Yep.
Very non-threatening.
Yep. And all that information is, we're on Facebook too, so you can just search Thrive Wellness NH on Facebook, and we post all the time, so we love to meet new people if you want to come out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Cool. Thank you guys so much for joining me
Thank
today. It's
you.
been fun.
Thank you. For
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. See, it's not painful.
No, it's not painful. It's not.
Okay, thank you guys so much for watching, and we're going to roll with the last word from our sponsors, and everyone have a good day. What if you had a virtual salesperson working for you in your company? You don't even have to pay him. How simple is that? Head over to nhbusinessshow.com/funnels and let me show you how a funnel can be that virtual salesman for you.